politics, and all seem set for the grand unveiling of the MPP's running mate, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, in his home region, Ashanti. This is largely known as the stronghold of the party and intended to generate more enthusiasm within the grassroots of the party. Meanwhile, a by-election to replace Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh on the parliamentary ticket of the party has been scheduled for July 14, 2024. Director of Election and Research for the MPP, Evans Nemako, has assured of equity and transparency in the Menchia South constituency primary. A brother of Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh is among persons who have been picked or have picked nomination to contest a July 14 primary for a seat which has stayed in the Japat royal family since 1996. William Evans Inkum has filed the following report. I'll bring you the details of that later. Of course, we are covering that live today, so stay tuned to TV3. In other news, Director General of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, Snit, Kofi Bosompim Osafo-Maafo, has justified the almost completed sale of 60% shares in some hotels belonging to Snit to Brian, a Champions Rock City hotel. At a news conference in Accra, he revealed that the hotels in question have not been paying dividends to Snit for over 10 years, despite investments made into them.
The Director General of Snit, Kofi Osafo-Maafo, expressed grave concern about the recent issues which have characterized the 60% sale of the hotels to Brian Champions Rock City Hotel. He explained that during the bidding process, Brian Champions Rock City put in the highest bid of some $29 million. He again stressed that all the 6 hotels in question have not paid dividend to Snit for years, despite a significant investment.
If we look at Elmina, the picture is not that different. Indeed, it's 9 out of the last 14 years has not paid us a dividend. The money we put into that really hasn't earned us any returns. The returns are negative over the period preceding the decision to divest of our 60% share. If we do Busia Beach, it's the same, no dividends, losses in most of the years, and returns negative, indeed minus 31.7 for the period 2010 to 2017. It puts everything into real perspective and why we would want to improve it with private investment. Ridge Royal, again, the picture is similar. And for the short period returns that we've owned it, returns are negative. That's since 2016. And a significant amount was spent on this hotel. In fact, the hotel owes us $44 million in the investment that we put into the hotel.
Already, the National Pensions Regulatory Authority has asked Snit to suspend the sale agreement. But the Director General, Kofi Osafo-Maafo, says Snit has engaged MPRA and other labor unions to resolve the issues affecting the sale agreement.
We've also had an engagement with the NPRA. Once more, we will have another engagement, and if it's deemed necessary, we will continue to engage. I think that is the message, and it's not changed. So I think that's a point that I would like to make. Hotels have become uncompetitive, hence the need for capital. And that is also a very important part of what we need to make our hotels businesses competitive. It's about capital. And we cannot ignore that position with respect to the performance of the hotels.
Meanwhile, the Director General of Snit has denied claims by former national chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Freddie Blay, that Snit rejected a $200 million bid by his son's company for the purchase of the hotels. Kofi Osafo-Maafo explains that the proposal by Spartan LVS did not make it through the first stage of the bidding process.
Spartan Knives did not get past that stage. Their technical proposal was weak. They scored below the required 50%. And so their financial proposal was not even assessed. The envelope was not even opened. It was returned to them. That is what the law requires us to do. And we did so. And all of these are in the minutes. So if there's anyone who wants to challenge them, we are very happy to oblige. So to say that Snit received an offer of 150 to 200 million and turned it down is not accurate.
Meanwhile, Snit has told Shraj that it has not flouted any law in agreeing on the 60% shares to Rock City Hotel.
Allegations of corruption, lack of transparency, cronyism, lack of value for money, deception, procurement breaches, accountability, graft against board and management of Snit. I think for that one, it looks as though they were looking at every other single thing that was around and put it together. But none of that applies. It's been transparent, free of corruption, and indeed very consistent with corporate governance rules and standard and corporate governance practice.
Let's do education stories now. And to prevent exam papers leakage among candidates during this year's Basic Education Certificate Examination, BEC, examination questions now differ from center to center. This is a strategy implemented by WAEC to help streamline logistical activities, especially during the transit period from the educational institutions to the exam centers, including leakage. Ikuya Ofuriwadako reports.
From Osu Presby Girls Ringway Basic School to Accra High School, the exams officials here tell me that the process has so far been good and no discrepancies have been recorded.
Latest by 9 o'clock, the papers were ready for them to start the first paper for the day. So far, we haven't encountered any problem. All the students in the morning were in, and they are all set for the exams. Their preparation too has been good.
Philip Adu, Municipal Director of Education at Korle Klottey, further noted that students are strictly adhering to WAEC's regulations and hope no student engages in any malpractices.
The uniform that they will start for the day, for the week, they should wear it throughout. So we have all these measures have been given to us, and we have briefed the students also accordingly.
The assistant headmistress in charge of academics at Accra High School, Monica Botrigbobo, expressed satisfaction with the conduct of the BEC candidates on the first day of the exams.
We usually have so many students, but this year we have only 125. It is good because it's not interfering with our school program. We are a single track school and all the students are in school. And we don't need to disturb them to go home or something because we are only using the assembly hall.
A total of 569,095 candidates made up of 282,648 males and 286,447 females from 19,506 participating schools registered for the examination.
You have some few days to go. What are your expectations?
Please, I expect the same way it went for this paper, I expect it to go the same way for the others.
This morning, did you encounter any challenges prior to the beginning of the exams?
No, I felt it to be a normal examination and made sure I wasn't afraid to sit in front of the paper.
There were a few questions that made me think for a while. I'm not so sure of it, but I have confidence in myself though.
Some of the questions were baffling my mind, but with the help of God, I was able to do it.
Today, nearly 57,000 candidates are expected to take part in the BEC examination in over 2,000 centers across the country. Ekofri Wadako, TV3 News, Accra.
Meanwhile, Director of Public Affairs at the West Africa Examination Center, John Kapi, says further checks have been put in place to reduce malpractices in exams.
We, as we indicated in our press briefing last Friday, we indicated that we're going to deploy our, independently recruited monitors. Would also have national security, the NIB, and so on. So at this particular center, the invigilators who were not supposed to have phones on them in the examination hall, unfortunately had these phones on them, and so the phones were taken away from them, and upon the search, they realized that they had taken snapshots of the paper that was ongoing, and they had posted this on a WhatsApp platform that they had set up. right? So these phones were seized from them, and immediately they were handcuffed and handed over to the police in the area. That is Jinijini in the Bunu region. Now, the other case had to do with Anyang Kwanta near Bekwai, or in the Bekwai municipality, where 3 villagers were found with material that was the answers to the questions that were being written by the candidates today. So they also were picked up by the NIB, so we're very grateful to them, and they were handed over to the police. Handed the phones also over to the police as evidence of whatever breaches that they have committed.
Let's head to the courts now. The timeline for the completion of the trial involving 2 teenagers charged with conspiracy and murder of a 10-year-old Ishmael Mensa Abdallah has been impacted following the strike action by jurors in the case. Now, the strike, which began on May 16, is in protest of unpaid allowances spanning 10 months. Lord Asari reports.
The trial, which is in its final stages, has been delayed and has resulted in continuous adjournments. Lawyers from both prosecution and defendants are left with closing addresses as well as the seminar by the judge for the jury to conclude and present their verdict. The case has, however, suffered 3 adjournments. First on May 7 and then subsequently on June 24. When the case was called on Monday, the jurors were once again absent from court, staying the hand of the judge from progressing. The 18-year-old second accused made his first appearance after being transferred into prison custody by Justice Lydia Osei-Mafo. The 15-year-old first accused was, however, absent despite his lawyers informing the court that he was on his way. A senior state attorney notified the court that family of the deceased had been bereaved, hence could not be present in the court and prayed for an adjournment. The judge granted the request and adjourned proceedings to July 23. Other cases impacted by the juror strike include the murder trial of former Ibokwa North Member of Parliament, J.B. Dankwa, Gregory Afoku murder trial, and the Abesim murder trial. Lord Asari, TV3 News, Accra.
Still in the courts, the majority in Parliament has justified the Chief Justice's letter to the President calling for the appointment of some additional 5 judges to the Supreme Court to aid in the effective discharge of the Apex Court's mandate. Despite widespread criticism, Majority Leader Alexander Fenyo-Markin says that the procedure used by the Chief Justice was in consonance with due process.
The Chief Justice did not just write a letter sitting on stilts. She justified it and made very compelling arguments. In fact, as per what we have become aware, the Ghana Bar Association was duly consulted and the Bar Association in principle agreed to say. Other stakeholders also agreed to the need to expand our courts. But the argument which we in the majority caucus disagree with is the argument of timing. What is it about the timing? An institution like the judiciary, with its constitutional mandate to deliver justice, is not bound by election timetable of the country. The impression they try to create is that all that the Supreme Court does is to determine political cases. But I can tell you on good authority that the Supreme Court of Ghana, the political cases that perhaps go there may not even be up to 2% of the cases that they deal with, go into issues of jurisdiction. The primary objection to the recent recommendation for appointment to the Supreme Court is on the back of a certain justification that judges in the Supreme Court, a big country like Supreme Court, United States, are not even up to 10. For the avoidance of doubt, in the US, the Supreme Court of the United States is not a court of first instance. The United States Supreme Court, the federal Supreme Court of the US, doesn't have original powers, mandate, jurisdiction.
Right here on your Election Command Center, let's do some election-related stories now. And as a commission, we're poised and ready to deliver credible, transparent and peaceful elections in Ghana. The words of the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Jean Mensah, when the National Election Security Task Force, led by the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Kufu-Dampare, called on the Electoral Commission. Now, the meeting with the commission is to enable the service prepare adequately for the December 7 elections, among others.
In a step towards safeguarding the democratic process, the National Election Security Task Force, under the leadership of Inspector General of Police Dr. George Kufu-Dampare, met with the Electoral Commission. This meeting was convened to reinforce collaborative efforts in ensuring credible, transparent and peaceful elections come December 7.
We came to do about 5 things. First, to commend the EC and the team working within it across the country for an excellent job done. And second, for all of us to sit down and debrief to look at all the issues that need to come to our attention for us to do better going forward. And that brings me to a specific point from the security point of view, coming to ask the EC and the team what exactly they think we did right that we need to continue doing and what we need to improve upon, is to have a way of also telling you some of the concerns that we might have had. And then for us also to bring that to the fore, for you to help us so that going forward, those concerns can be also addressed. And more importantly, we are rather also very interested in what is ahead of us. So for us to have a discussion as to what is ahead of us.
Chairperson of the Commission, while acknowledging the contributions of the police service in the electoral process, noted the Commission will stop at nothing in delivering a credible election on December 7.
I'd like to pledge the Commission's commitment again to the good people of this country, that as a Commission we are poised and we are ready to deliver credible, transparent, fair, and peaceful elections in Ghana. I believe that our activities from the start of this year through to this time reveal that this is a commission that is transparent, that holds dear the values of transparency and accountability.
As the nation prepares for this significant electoral event, the collaboration between the Electoral Commission and the Security Task Force stands as one of the key elements towards a peaceful election.
Now, away from elections, the Ministry of Works and Housing has received bids from 5 organizations to complete 1,506 housing units at Sagami. The Sector Minister, Kojo Ponkruma, says his outfit is committed to ensuring a transparent process.
The Sagami housing units were started by the John Mahama government in 2012. A loan of $200 million was secured to construct an initial 5,000 affordable housing units to be sold to citizens. But as of 2017, 1,506 units were built but not completed. The projects stalled after the NPP government took over, citing legal issues. Government has resolved to complete the projects, and in April this year, a request for proposal was made inviting private sector participation. On Monday, July 8, the Works and Housing Ministry received bids from the organizations.
We have committed as a ministry, in accordance with our transparency policy for this transaction and in accordance with the proactive disclosure sections of the Right to Information Act, we have committed as a ministry that we will publish online all of these bids, and we'll also publish the evaluation report that comes in, so that every Ghanaian, everybody who is interested in this transaction knows the bids that came in and how these bids were evaluated and who is the preferred bidder.
The sector minister said the ministry is working with the Public Procurement Authority to select 1 out of 4 independent evaluation entities for the process to choosing the preferred bidder.
We will select 1 of these accounting firms by close of business on Wednesday, and then we will hand all of these bids to the
independent evaluation entity so that they do the evaluation and submit to us the evaluation report. Already the criteria, which is the technical and financial requirements, have been published in the request for proposals document, which we put out, and we put a copy of it on our website. And according to our work program, within 7 days, we're expecting to receive the revert from the independent evaluation entity, which will tell us which of these 5 bidders is the preferred bidder.
The housing units currently do not have electricity, water and sewage, and Kojo Opon Nkrumah emphasized government's commitment to seeing to it that the housing units are redeveloped and handed over for use.